Welcome to Sofitel Los Angeles at Beverly Hills. Our hotel, like our brand, is all about blending the French savoir faire and the best of the local culture. But today, it's not about blending, it's about competing. Our director of food and beverage, Mathieu Bruno, and our director of nightlife, Aidan Demarest, will confront in a merciless duel. Mathieu, representing France, will be presenting you the wonderful world of Cognac, while Aidan, representing the United States, will be presenting you the delightful world of American whiskey. You'll learn the main characteristic of a few liqueurs from these two fabulous worlds for you to pick your favorite one. You name it, it's Battle of the Bottles, France versus USA edition.
Hello, I'm Aidan.
Bonjour, I'm Mathieu.
Guess which one's French?
So Aidan, what we're going to talk about today?
I think we're going to talk a little bit about the Sofitel LA and what we do here, and also I think we're going to have a battle of the bottles, aren't we?
Absolutely, grapes versus grain.
Yes, and U.S. versus France, as it goes.
Okay, so tell us, for how long you've been in Sofitel Los Angeles, and what do you do here?
I'm the director of nightlife here, and I've been here for a year and a half. And what I do is magic fun maker. We make drinks that have nightlife. There's a beautiful food and beverage department here, and Los Angeles sort of brings that all together in this beautiful blend. What's really interesting about this particular location and us and the spirits we're talking about is that we are a French-inspired hotel in the middle of Los Angeles. And what makes that really interesting is that I get to play with drinks and what I consider a very American tradition, which is cocktails, with this overview that you provide.
Yeah, and it's awesome because that's what it's all about for the Sofitel, the cultural link, you know?
Yeah.
This link, which means like France and the local culture. So
Yeah.
I think like we're right on target.
Yeah, and Mathieu and I have talked a lot about how much, I didn't ever realize until I got here, and I've spent a lot of time, I was a judge at San Francisco World Spirits and a judge in and around the world for a lot of different categories, and I never realized how much influence France had on American culture, not only the culture, but definitely our spirit culture and how that works. So we're going to talk about that. I, of course, am a little biased and feel as though we took it up a notch, but Mathieu will explain his version.
Yeah, let's be honest, you are more French than me.
True story, right?
All right.
You would never guess.
Yeah. You want to start?
Yes, let's get in there, right? You want me
Sure.
to start and dive in?
Of course.
Okay, so we have a couple of different things going on, but sort of all of this came from, we're coming up on the holidays. We're here in Los Angeles, we're coming up on the holidays. We are in troubling times, are difficult times, and we're trying to figure out a way to keep it fun, bring back the spirit of the holidays. And there's so much great stuff that happens here at the Sofitel, and we have, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these things. And what Mathieu and I were really trying to figure out is how do we send that home? How do we send that home to our regulars and the people that come here all the time, which is where, and a lot of people are doing this in our business, but for us, it was just really about trying to send some of that home to people that aren't going to be obviously get to spend time with us this year. Anyway.
That's awesome. So what you going to use?
First we were talking about American whiskey, all the categories, American whiskey, bourbon, and rye. And
Rye. What is rye?
Rye is American whiskey, which is primarily rye grain. So the grains versus grapes idea, I love that scenario. And American whiskey is all distilled grains. It's all fermented, mashed, distilled grains, because America is a giant heartland of grains, So wheat, corn, rye, we are a grains country. And that's what I think changed spirits. So, we came here, primarily Europeans came here, they brought their distilling and how it worked, and we as Americans, or they as they became Americans, became a grain distillate, and I think spread out over the world in that way. It's an easier, quicker way to work. And anyway,
Which area actually it's made?
Bourbon is
Bourbon?
made in Bourbon County, right? Which
name.
is in Kentucky, and is a French name. And same with Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It's really interesting to me that as I started to look into this and thinking in terms of competition, so much of this stuff is French. What is it? Appellation?
Appellation. Thank you, Aidan.
So the French, of course, had to make it difficult and make it like it had to be in one particular area. So Bourbon County is a small county in Kentucky. All bourbon that's called bourbon in the U.S. has to be 51% corn, first of all, so it's a little sweeter, made in Bourbon County, and distilled and then aged in new American oak, which is like, you know, clearly a helpful thing to the lumberyards in Kentucky.
Sorry, Aidan, can you reuse the oaks? That's it?
No, and you know what we do with them then?
You ship them to
We
France.
send them to France. Because you guys have no problem using used oak. Which means, to me, all French distillates have a little bit of American flavor.
Well, we'll come back to this with Cognac because it's
Yes.
not
You
always
don't
the case.
Anyway, we char them, and we char the barrels and age our whiskey in them, which is where the brown comes from. I could go on and on about the brown category, you know, and obviously there's Scotch and everything happening all around the world, but we're talking about just France and America right now. And in the USA, obviously I've got a couple of them going on here, and specifically two things we created: bourbon and basketball. Boom, right there.
And who are the world champion this year?
Who is? The Lakers. What? In Los Angeles?
I think so too.
Yeah. So let's even get. Okay. So, I think that's it. Did we cover it all? American whiskey. I mean, American whiskey then gets into, you know, I've got some rye, but American whiskey also gets into, I know I have one somewhere. Oh, a little Jack Daniels. So sour mash, all those things are in there. Anyway, also what is a very American moment is Thanksgiving and punch. Like, big format. We like big, bold, broad strokes when it comes to things. So this is a drink that can feed 8 to 10 people.
Wow.
Or one super, super heavy drinker. Anyway, what
What's
I
in
did,
it?
huh?
What's in it?
Right? So what I did is I came up, to me, a punch is a super simple thing. Specific recipes, all it is it's just gotta be balanced, right? So to me, you've gotta get the spirit, the sweet, and the sour into a thing, and the spice. So there's just like, you know, what I got going on here is bourbon. So I'm doing bullet bourbon. You can do any kind of bourbon. American whiskey. I like to go a little sweeter for a punch because it's softer, and a hard American whiskey, even like a sour mash, is not going to please the whole crowd. So it's something soft, and that doesn't matter which one that is. Bourbon generally is considered softer and sweeter with the corn. So I stay with it for any large format drink. So 2/3 of a bottle of bourbon going in here for 8 to 10 people.
Okay.
6 people, legitimately, drinking 8 to 10 servings. So spirit, citrus, sugar. That's where we're headed with it, right? So I'm doing a little citrus. And then I'm gonna do what I did with some apple cider, right?
Wow, okay.
So what I did was infuse the apple cider with a little fig, right? So we got some fig happening, and fig is Thanksgiving, all the things, apple cider, there's cinnamon, there's sugar in here, all the things. I go all the way up with that. Key to a punch is, for me, is aging it overnight. So chilling it, because a punch really captures, there's cinnamon and sugar happening in here in the citrus. And what it does is gel. It basically gels. Cinnamon has a ton of coagulant in it, so it strengthens it. And when people drink punch, they want to taste things happening. You know what I mean? It can't be, it's not a cocktail. A punch is aged. The best case scenario, at least 4 hours in the fridge, because then you get all that moment happening. So a little stir, but you can toss this in the fridge real quick, because what you're gonna also wanna do is the day before, make yourself a little ice flow. I stick things in them, cranberries, rosemary, some mint, throw that in there.
That's
right?
awesome.
And then you just toss that into your situation. Dink. And then serve. You've got 8 to 10. Obviously this has sat overnight, and boom, you got a crowd pleaser.
That looks awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about Cognac then. So Cognac is made in a special area in France, Charente-Maritime. There is particularities to Cognac. It's made of one grape called Uni Blanc. It has to come from the area Charente-Maritime, okay? Then it's distilled twice in a pot still, okay? Some whiskey actually using the pot still as well. And the oak barrel and the aging, that's what is the most important. So the oak barrel is made also in the area. It's burned on the inside, and the fact that you're burning it on the inside and you're aging the cognac in it will give you the flavor, you know? And the more you age, the better it is. The minimum is, I think, 2 years for the cognac. And the crazy part is the angel share. I don't know if you heard of that, but into the barrel every year there is an evaporation, and it represents, and don't quote me on this, 22 million bottles per year. So the production is losing 22 million bottles per year with the angel share, you know. Cognac is a beautiful area. It's on the countryside, you know. I had the chance to go there. It's like really, really great. Like I really enjoyed this part of France, you know. Armagnac, let's talk a little bit about Armagnac, you know, because like Armagnac is not as well known as Cognac, but yet it's a beautiful product. It comes from Gascony. The main difference is that it's a blend of grapes. It's not like only one grape, you know, it's a blend of different grapes coming from the area, and it's distilled once in a column still. So it's not a pot still, you know, what we call the Alambic Charentais, but it's a column still, you know. Okay. So that's the difference. And same thing, aged in oak barrel, you know, and it's just like amazing product. And I don't want to forget Calvados, you know. Calvados come from Normandy, and Calvados is made of apple, and sometimes it's made with pear. So this is the main differences that we can have in between Cognac, Armagnac, Calvados. But like we have so much to offer in terms of eau de vie. You know, in France, everybody is making his own eau de vie. Everybody is making his own thing in different area.
What does eau de vie mean? What is that one?
It's the fact that you're actually distillating either grapes or grain or any other thing, you know, and you're making like an alcohol out of it.
Everything sounds good in French.
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
It's often flavor, you know, with pear, you know, you can have like different flavor out of it. So for the cocktail, I actually like decided to make the grapes of gratitude. Thank you for the name, Aidan, because you're the one who found it. I actually thought about it, and I thought of Harry McKellen, you know, who did his sidecar in Paris, you know. I know you would tell me that Harry McKellen was American, but he was Scottish actually. You know, yeah, I'm sorry.
Technicality.
But he comes from
American.
He comes from the New York bars, and he was actually like one of the best bartender ever. You know, a legend. So he did the sidecar which made with fresh lemon, with triple sec, you know, and with cognac. So I took this base. And I also decided to go with my own roots. So I come from Nice, the Mediterranean Sea, you know, and out there, you know, the weather, we like basil, we like rosemary. And each time I make a cocktail, I always come back to my roots, you know, the flavor of my childhood. So here we go. We're gonna take a little bit of basil.
Nice.
Then we're gonna take some white grapes. And I'm sorry, because you stole my spoon, so I'm gonna take it from you again. You know. Here you go. I'm gonna use a little bit of white grape juice, and this is gonna help me to muddle easily. Sorry. Here we go. We're gonna muddle this. That's about it. Then we're gonna use a little bit of triple sec.
I love this little setup here. This is so clearly the difference between my bucket of booze over here and your beautiful little scientific, like it couldn't be more opposite.
I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice, absolutely, you know. Then what I've done, I infused a little bit of rosemary into cognac, you know, yeah. You know, it's like, it's pretty clear right now, but like if you actually like infuse it for 48 hours, you know, the cognac will go darker. I'm gonna put a little bit of cognac here.
Infusion is just a fancy way for at home soaking your liquor in something else and taking it up a notch, as far as I'm concerned. Great.
Absolutely.
Big showstopper at a dinner party.
Absolutely. Some ice.
But don't leave it in too long, because then it just tastes like way too much.
Okay, we're gonna do a strong check.
There we
little bit of French flair. And we're going to double strain.
Nice copper mug to all that.
Here we go.
Flash.
Copper straw. Here we go
Oh,
to
well
go along
done.
with my copper mug. And we're going to finish with a nice garnish that I made with apple, grapes, and mint. Here we go. Grapes of gratitude.
Nice.
Thank you.
Damn it. That's pretty good. Looks like origami. That's what we've got, folks. I feel like don't do this at home. Yes, please do it at home.
Absolutely.
And come see us as soon as you can, right?
Absolutely.
And, is there like going to be like a dance-off for the winner of this, or what's happening?
I don't know, but let's not forget one thing.
I
Drink
think you would win the dance-off.
Absolutely. Drink responsibly, that's for sure, you know. And God
There
bless
you go.
America.
Vive la France!
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching. We hope that you learned a lot about the wonderful world of cognac and whiskey, and that you are ready to pick your side for a fabulous holiday season. We wish you an amazing Thanksgiving and an amazing holiday season, and are looking forward to welcoming you back at the Sofitel Los Angeles at Beverly Hills very soon. Cheers and santé!